Good evening.
Good evening.
How goes it?
It goes okay.
Good.
I have spent the last day and a half, basically, I guess, just gaming with Marcelo. Um, and prior to our gaming session, we went to the zoo where he got to pet a monitor lizard. And I got to help hold a giant albino boa constrictor.
Fun. Fun. See, snakes don't scare me. I don't want to touch them though.
Yeah, see, that's that you didn't know what you were signing up for prior to raising hands. Um, Ironically, though, one of the signs for Lilith
Mhm. Yeah,
in the
go ahead.
past month, I swear I have seen about 10 snakes.
Um, my daughter has one.
Hmm.
It's a little thing, and I don't mind being around it. It can be next to me. I can be in the room with it. It can be out. That does not bother me. And there's no particular reason. I just don't want to touch it.
I don't blame you. It's not, yeah, no, it's not a desired feeling.
Yeah.
But I do have
I used to have an
pictures, so I'll
iguana.
post those.
I used to have an iguana. It okay, it belonged to my brother and he needed money, so he was like made a deal with my mom like I'll sell you Speedy. And Speedy had like I can't even fit it on the screen. Speedy had a very long tail. Very long tail. Never dropped it or anything. And we used to give it a bath because that's how iguanas poop. They poop in the water.
Hmm.
So we'd give Speedy his bath, and then they like to be warm. So then we'd hold him in the towel for a while. It was, yeah, that I miss.
Okay, interesting.
I
Didn't
d-
know that.
yeah, I don't think I could deal with it now because like the birds, they're a fucking headache. I do threaten them with the air fryer often.
I can verify that.
I do. They don't give a shit though.
No,
They
they
are
don't.
loud, screechy bitches.
Especially in the morning.
Ugh. It doesn't stop until we cover them. And even
Okay.
and if we're still up, because a lot of times like my table is right next to the bird cage, Roy and I'll sit there and play dice, Yahtzee, whatever. And they can be covered up. But if there's music playing, them bitches are loud. They like music.
They do. And that's awesome.
Yeah. Because I like music. So usually
Yeah.
at night, Roy and I have like we rotate who gets to play whose playlist. Um, and then I have to change my playlist because Roy and I have a lot of the same songs, so you hear the same ones over and over. And yeah, I'll just tell him, nope, you got to skip yours because nope, you're not making me sick of it.
That's funny.
He's
Marcelo and I have very different tastes in music. Um, and so it's a battle of music in the car.
yeah, well, nope, car, I'm my car, so I pick the music.
See, and that's just it. I have the cheat because if he's got his iPad, he can play his iPad. I don't care. Play whatever you want. And then I have my headphones on and I can play whatever I want. And then we're
Yeah,
both happy.
see, I wouldn't be able to. Well, I don't know. use my headset while driving.
Oh, I do all the time.
I just think for me it would be too distracting because I don't, and maybe not because I don't know, but when I get in my car, because I've got an Alexa Auto. It's probably the
Hmm.
most bougie thing I own is an Alexa Auto. Uh, that just automatically connects as soon as I get in my car. So
Mine does too. In fact, the only time I use the headset is when he's in the car. So
yeah, no, I don't know. For me, I don't know. I was gonna say something else and I fucking forgot. Oh, the Alexa is nice because I can. Well, most people in my family, um, they are not listed in my phone by their actual name.
were you just itching your ear?
Yeah, well, behind
Right.
it.
Okay, I was itching my right earlobe.
Oh, my lobes are covered, so and it would yeah. I actually just before we started recording, I had to take out my earrings because it was pushing on them, and it was hot here today, so I was actually wearing fried eggs. Um, oh, nobody in my house is listed with their name. Like Roy is listed in my phone as Splendid Daddy. So when I want to call him and I don't want to say it because mine will go off and anybody else's, um, but like, um, call Splendid Daddy and she'll say, calling Splendid Daddy's mobile.
You're terrible. And that's why I love you.
Now, the two funniest names in there, my son is listed as Dirty Little Multigrain Whore. But there's okay, story behind that is before that, his name in my phone was Roadkill. And then I found out like 3 days later because nobody wanted to tell me. It happened while I was at work. No one said anything until his phone got broke, but he was riding a bike and got hit by a car. No one wanted to tell me this though. They, I freaked out. But his phone got ruined, and because it had insurance, I had to do a claim and all that stuff. So after getting hit by a car, I felt really bad having his name as a roadkill. So have you ever watched the show The League?
Nope.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Well, there is a scene where one of the guys is like dry humping a loaf of bread and he calls it a dirty little multigrain whore. And I'm like, that's Buddy's new nickname in my phone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And the other funny name in there is my brother-in-law has a very long beard and I call it his taint tickler. So that's what he's listed in my phone as. Yeah, so that's fun.
Nope. I don't think I've ever seen that show. To be fair, prior to our recording tonight, I watched a documentary basically on Netflix called it's part of the Unknown Files in regards to an ancient cave that they found with a whole nother species of humanoid type buried in a cave, and they found markings. That was just last year. They discovered the markings and stuff inside the cave.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah, and then I started watching one about UFOs.
Yeah. So last night, I'm, hold on, I'm in the wrong one. I send Jenny a text like, I'm excited for tomorrow's episode. And she was like, what's it about? And I said, something you'd never expect because I have mentioned that I'm not interested. She's like, is it aliens? I'm like, hell no. I said, and
First thought.
I said, hell no. And it's not a cryptid either. So
Those are the first two that my mind went to.
yeah, no, no. I would have to be out of all material to turn to that. Just or have lost a bet.
Remind me to bet you on something that I know I'll win on.
I think one of these times it would be funny for us to pick each other's
Oh, there you go.
just to make it interesting.
Or better yet, the listeners pick a case for each of us.
Yeah, that would be cool. Now I don't know if it shows up on the other platforms that we're on, but when I upload the audio, I use the Spotify for podcasters, formerly Anchor. It does give you space to ask a question or
Okay.
something like that. And honestly, I didn't look to see if anyone's answered or even if they know. Um,
I do recall seeing the notification that the one had a question.
okay,
So I do remember seeing that.
okay, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anyone's answered it yet. I'll look. Not right now though.
We're both very terrible about checking back on things.
Um, you know what? It's not that I'm. Oh, you know what? I actually can look right now because I forgot also have it on my phone.
Okay, while you're looking, I would like to say thank you to Miss Tammy because she sent me a message the other day and it just it hit right in the feels and it was greatly appreciated and perfectly timed. So thank you. It really meant a lot.
Okay. Nope. No one. Tammy is amazing.
She is.
And I don't know, maybe I should ask. I can do this without names. So a couple of years ago, when like in a group chat that we had, or we were in, we didn't have it, it wasn't ours. Um, I had mentioned going somewhere for my anniversary. She mentioned that her brother owned a place, but I had already booked that location. Um, so th- this time I booked that location that she had suggested.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah. So I'm super excited. Like looking at the pictures of the place and just the amenities that it has. I'm just so flippin' excited.
That's amazing.
And even more excited because there's a place up there. It's called Route 23 Barbecue.
Okay.
It is the best barbecue. The best.
That's the place that hits the spot.
It is. And this starting Thursday, tomorrow,
Okay.
um, we in Bay City, there used to be an event that happened every year called the Labadee Pig Gig. It was sponsored by Labadee, whatever, I don't know. It was a car dealership. And it was a lot of like barbecue type things.
It's totally
And
not what I would expect for a car dealership. Sorry.
yeah. Well, I don't know about now, but at the time it was like the biggest one in Bay City.
Mm.
Uh, and so it was the Labadee Pig Gig. And now they have, I believe it's called Pig Fest. Well, it was in 2012, I think, they just quit doing the pig gig, which sucked because every night there was a concert. Uh just shopping, food, activities, just you name it. And then they did away with it.
It's like a week-long carnival.
4-ish days kind of thing. I don't know if they had rides. Maybe. I don't know. And then they stopped doing it. Well, last year they started doing this pig fest, which is basically the same thing, but I don't think it's got the same sponsors.
Mm,
And that's going on this weekend. I told Roy we should go and pregame.
that's funny.
Yeah. So, but they have vendor like people that run barbecues and stuff from all over. I know we've got there's like one from Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Let me look it up real quick. Because I think there was, nope, we're not in 2032. Um, Forget it. I thought there was one from Wisconsin, but I could be wrong. No, I need to know.
there could be. We have several barbecue places, famous barbecue places.
Um, oh, I guess it is still called Labadee Rib Fest. Sorry. But I know like this year they've got like Lita Ford coming, Dokken, which I'm so bummed because I would love to go see Dokken. You don't know who Dokken is.
Nope, not a clue.
Let me see if I can. Ohio, Texas. We got them coming from Texas, Virginia, Ohio.
Not that surprising.
Nope, I was wrong. Nothing from Wisconsin.
We're lame.
Yeah.
We actually had a barbecue place in the casino for a restaurant for a while.
Hmm.
Except they would randomly close whenever they felt like it. And you never really knew when they were going to be opened. Their menu was exceptionally limited. Service was kind of rude. And yeah, wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. See, and I honestly think that's what me and Roy are looking forward to the most is going to this place. It's a family owned business. Everybody in there is so nice. Well, we were there once. It may have changed. Who knows? But everybody
Probably
was
not.
like they were super friendly. Um, just great food, great service.
That's awesome.
So we're excited about that.
Very cool. I have nothing fun coming up.
Yeah, that I got. Well, I'm working this weekend. Yay. Bank says yay. I say no. But, yeah, I guess we'll see. So you ready to get into this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know I've said it was either last week's episode, maybe the week before. Um, I think it was last week when you were talking about the haunted locations,
Okay.
maybe, and I was talking about like different things that didn't interest me, and um, the Elisa Lamb case. Do you know anything about it?
I need more elaboration.
She was a Canadian resident. She was a student at the University of British Columbia, but not registered at the beginning of 2013.
Okay. Might as well just tell the story because I have no idea.
Well, my notes do not include the entire story because there is a lot to it. But she was a 21-year-old Canadian who had bipolar disorder and was on medication for bipolar disorder. I did not list her medications because, well, most of them I couldn't pronounce anyway.
It goes with medications.
Pardon?
That's how it goes with medications.
Yeah. Well, some of them I know because of working in group homes, so I know the name of some of them, but not all of them.
What's the medicine that's not Tylenol that you can take for headache and body ache? Not a leaf.
A lot of them.
Starts with an I.
Ibuprofen.
Say it again.
Ibuprofen.
Okay. I saw a video the other day of a guy who was saying it. Ibuprofen. No, I can't even say it the way he said it. Ibuprofen.
God. I can even say acetaminophen.
Ooh, fancy. Words work today.
Oh, but we'll see. I haven't gotten into this yet. And not gonna lie, this is sloppier than it's bad. So bear with me. Okay, so she from Canada took a road trip because she was very active on Tumblr, which I've never done Tumblr, so I don't know. But to me, it seems like a live journal, Facebook kind of thing where you post almost like diary type shit. Not diarrhea, a diary.
And other people see this?
Mhm. I'm assuming because
Okay.
once she went missing, people found it, and like honestly, there was like a whole bunch of people that made videos. Okay, so again, this was never a case that I was interested in, not because I heard it and I was like, oh well, that's shitty. But what made it viral, like such a popular case, was there's actually video of her in the whole elevator. Have you seen that?
Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Where it looks like she's running from someone. She like gets again like on the same side as the door, and like she huddles in and she looks like she's talking to somebody. And
And she's hitting certain buttons.
yep, hitting the buttons, and she leaves the elevator and is never seen again. And the last time she was seen was January 31st of 2013. Her parents from Canada reported her missing on February 1st. And she was found 19 days after she was last seen, floating in the tank on the roof of the Cecil Hotel. And yeah, it's a whole thing. So
I
what?
actually know the name of those tanks because I've learned it for my research. It's on the tip of my tongue and it's dancing a lovely little jig. Unfortunately, it doesn't want to spit out, and my notes are way over there.
So my sorry, my notes are not actually on the case. They are the theories surrounding,
Oh,
and
okay.
some of them are good theories and some of them are kind of far-fetched and some of them are, they make you think. so we can discuss them as we go. But like I said, this is one I haven't been interested in, but I can't watch things at work because I'm constantly moving, but I can listen.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what? What the fuck? Why not? And I was honestly hoping they would talk more about how like the Night Stalker stayed there. Um, Elizabeth Short, that's the last place that she was seen before she was brutally murdered. And there was another one, and they do talk about him in the documentary that he had actually been to prison for kidnapping and rape and murder, let out, and he came here as a journalist, followed around the police, kind of got into what it was like from the prostitute side and the John side. And in the meantime, he's like kidnapping and killing women. Unger, I don't know. So, um, most of my info came from the Netflix documentary, which I don't know the exact name, something like Vanished at the Cecil. Um, if it's a case that you're interested in, excellent document. I mean, it's good either way. Um, but I got to the theories episode, which was episode 3, and I was like, ooh, this is a
You know,
topic.
on a side note, the case that I'm working on is also full of a lot of theories.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of my problem for the research is coming in because they laid it out in a dumb way.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt.
Okay. So everyone, I've already discussed this, but going back to my notes, everyone knows that she was found in the tank. When she was found, her clothes were at the bottom of the tank and she was naked. She was fully nude. She was also found face up, which a lot of people say that indicates foul play. And to me, the one thing that gets me is they said the lid tank or the hatch was closed,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no way she could have closed it herself. So,
Exactly.
um, but eventually, like they weren't sure a cause of death, and they eventually classified it as an accidental drowning. So, this information, because I'm one of them people, I can hear it and write notes, but I got to pause every few seconds because they talk faster than I can write.
Yep.
Um, so this is information from Netflix and bustle.com. This is where this is. So theory 1 is Elisa died by suicide. Some people point out her Tumblr posts, like I brought up. In those, I haven't went and looked for it. Excuse me. But she does write a lot about her depression and anxiety and things like that. So a lot of people say that is evidence of
The paranormal.
that. No, that she could have.
What? Sorry.
I was gonna say I didn't say anything about paranormal.
No, but I'm facing the wrong direction is the problem.
Um, Again, I have not looked up her Tumblr or even an article about her Tumblr to know what it says. In the documentary, they do have like a voice actor like reading as
Okay.
her post. And I mean, she definitely a very bright woman. But she does talk a lot about, you know, having a chemical imbalance in her brain and things like that. So I mean, could it be a theory? Okay. What are you seeing?
It's fine. It's fine. I'm still listening. I promise.
Okay. Well, you're distracting me.
I'm sorry.
So just tell
I'm
us what
trying
you're
to only
seeing.
move my eyeballs. Well, no, it's a combination because like I keep seeing a light that's shooting up my curtain and the curtain's moving, but I'm hearing something as well, like in the other room. And I was trying to figure out if it was just a cat or if it was a mouse.
Or squirrel.
Don't you even start with those damn squirrels. For any new listeners, the top part of my closet is open to the gigantic spaces between the my ceiling and the floor above. It's probably a good 8 inches high, and mice will burrow through and around. Although so does flying squirrels, because they apparently like to live in the insulation and the brick of my walls. Those little motherfuckers will taunt the shit out of you. And they're hard as shit to catch too, by the way. Just an FYI. I
All
rant
right.
over.
Okay. So theory 2 is what they eventually listed her cause of death, accidental drowning. And this is the theory because of that is most supported, that she had a history of bipolar disorder, which we talked about. Um, she took multiple medications, and according to her sister, and this is where it's kind of, eh, um, her toxicology report showed that she had those drugs in her system, but it was such, like, she was under medicating herself. So what they're thinking is because of the fill dates on the bottles that she had with her and how many were left, she had just stopped taking them, which could have, seeing the way she acted. And there is someone in the documentary, and again, I didn't go into any of that, um, that talks about how, like some of her actions, and if she was being paranoid that there was something following her, um, that could be attributed to the fact she wasn't taking her medication properly.
Hmm.
Um, and in that state of mind, she could have found her way to the roof and into the tank. And as hotel guests used the water levels dropped, and now she wasn't able to reach the hatch to get out, which I'm calling bullshit. Like,
Yeah, because she wouldn't have been able to close the hatch from the outside. And not only that, but I don't think that the reservoir empties that quickly.
I mean, I guess it depends on how many people are in the hotel. I mean, it's a big hotel.
But you have to realize too, it's probably not the only one, right? And so it's not like all of the hotel's water is being drained from that one. So it's not like just sudden drop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I don't know how, because there was, I think, 4 tanks on the roof. I don't
Mhm.
know how they work. I don't know if, like, this room, like, if so many rooms are assigned to each tank.
It's a pressure system.
Um, but yeah, I call bullshit on that one. And I do know they had to, like, cut away like a thing and pull her out, not from the top, but like from the bottom.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah. I don't remember a whole lot because, like I said, I'm working while I'm doing this, so I'm listening, but I'd say I'm not retaining, if that makes sense. Um, okay, so theory 3 is misusing substances. But this one's not supported because her toxicology report came back that she was not using any illegal drugs. In fact, the only drugs in her system were her medications in low levels. There's no alcohol, no marijuana, cocaine, none of that came back in her toxicology report. So I really didn't want to talk about it because it's not really theory, but it was listed. Theory 4, she was murdered. The viral video suggests that she was afraid of someone was following her. She was afraid someone was following her. So you've seen the video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing at this point anybody with the internet has seen it. Yeah. I know
I
it's
would
not
say there is the possibility that there could have been someone there. At the same time, there is also the possibility it may have been an episode.
right. So I know they talk about like some people thought they saw a foot outside of the elevator while she was in there. And then, so hang on, because over here I wrote a list of people that were suspected.
Okay.
A whole, no one, there's only, ow, fucker, only one person by name that I have listed, but a hotel employee. And because the hotel is very close to Skid Row,
Mm-hmm.
a
It's been swallowed, I think, since, if I'm not mistaken, the Cecil Hotel has been swallowed by the homeless community
yes.
since the movie was made.
Oh, way before that. Like
Yeah.
that Skid Row. In fact, one of the people on there is a Skid Row historian. So that tells me it's been around for a long time. When you have a
Yeah.
historian for something, and I didn't know a Skid Row historian was a thing.
Same. But at the same time, it does make a lot of sense because I mean, that is like a whole different, not community, but it's a whole different way of living in
Yeah,
that area than, other areas.
yeah. Human traffickers. Um, that the police were working with the hotel to cover up her murder.
Hmm.
And then there was I believe he's a death metal musician with the stage name of Morbid. Not to be
Of course.
confused. Yeah.
I at this point I know multiple Morbids. But I do know of the musician Morbid.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't made any music since this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I do talk about that later. So theory, oh, nope, I already said that. So in a separate surveillance video, Elisa is seen entering the hotel with two men who gave her a box. So then when they actually go through her stuff later, because of course she didn't check out, they cleared out her room. Well, she was initially in with 2 or 3 other females in a room.
Hmm.
And she was leaving notes on their pillow, like saying, get out, shit like that. They complained. So the hotel moved her to her own room.
Okay. I didn't catch that part.
And that was actually a couple days before she went missing that she was moved. I think it was the 28th of January that she was moved into her own room.
Okay.
I could be wrong on the dates. So when they went through her stuff and found this box that she was seen receiving in the surveillance video, it was from a bookstore called The Last Bookstore.
Oh, okay.
And she had went in there to get books, but didn't know if she would be able to carry them all if it was too heavy. So they were delivered to her or something on those lines. And I get back into the last bookstore in a little bit. So yeah, so those two men were ruled out as suspects in a possible murder. Theory 5 was she was tormented by ghosts, which it's widely reported to be a haunted hotel.
Oh, yes.
And and I like, would I visit there? Sure. In the daytime with a group of people.
Whole lot of people.
And it's not because of the haunting, it's because of Skid Row.
Yep.
And that whole thing. There's even a section of Skid Row called Ho Alley.
Yep.
Fun. So this was a haunted location where Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, stayed, and where he was staying when he was, kind of caught by a group of citizens and held until the police got there to arrest him. Now, and I haven't watched the documentary on him either.
No?
No, and I'm surprised because it's the whole serial killer thing. But it's probably because I've heard several podcasts about him, so I kind of don't feel the need to. I don't know.
It's different though to watch it.
Yeah, and again, this was the last known location of Elizabeth Short, who was known as the Black Dahlia, which between that and the Shepherd case, those were the two cases that started my love of true crime. Because that one is so interesting.
It is.
So interesting.
Ironically, I remember hearing about that one late teens, early 20s, somewhere in that area. And then I had read a book that had a florist in it who altered dahlias to make them black dahlias. And so she actually grew black dahlias, which made me fall in love with the flower dahlia, which I put in my wedding bouquet.
Huh. And many other tragic deaths occurred. Like there were several suicides that happened there. And some people believe that Eliza's hand movements in this video was a sign that she was communicating with the spirit. I mean, that is definitely one that, it makes some sense. Because it's just really a possibility.
There is a very fine line between being gifted and being mentally unstable.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I'm sorry, but there is. And I honestly feel that there is probably a great many people throughout history who, weren't actually crazy. They weren't actually, hearing voices in their head. They were hearing voices of deceased people.
Yeah.
They weren't actually, imagining the person standing there. It was a ghost standing there.
Yeah. Okay, so theory 6 is the dark water connection. Some people suggest that someone murdered Eliza to copy the plot of the 2005 movie Dark Water, where the main characters are Dahlia and Cecilia. And residents in their apartment complex complain of dark, foul tasting water, which leads to the discovery of a girl's body in the water tank on the roof. I've never seen it. I know in the Netflix documentary they show like clips while someone's talking about it. I haven't seen it. But like when I was listening, and then the comparisons were kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
that was 8 years before she died. So
Yep. Still fairly popular at the time.
yeah. I don't know, like until this case, I had never heard of it.
I had.
But it's an interesting one. Another one was, and I started it and I didn't finish it. The notes
Uh-oh.
for it, so I have to look at the website. So sorry.
That's all right.
So this is the theory that she opened a portal to another dimension. And the first time I heard this theory was on another podcast that had did it. And again, I listened to it, but not really, because this is never one that sparked my interest. But while you're driving, it's really hard to skip ahead, especially when you're doing on the highway.
Yeah.
So this one is the theory, they consider this the wildest theory. But it's based on the urban myth of the Korean elevator game. And according to the rules, the player has to enter an elevator alone and press a series of buttons in order to enter a parallel dimension. And then in this new world, electronic devices don't work and there's nothing outside but a red cross. The player is not supposed to leave the elevator. And if a strange woman stops on, they shouldn't speak to or look at her. Some theorize that Elisa was trying to play this game when it all went horribly wrong. And again, that's the first time I ever heard when I listened to this. The podcast was because I never heard of this game before. But I was listening to, and that's why we drink, and because they talk about it, and I'm like, that's fucking weird. Like, if that's the case, how do you get back? And she must have came back because they found her body.
Yeah.
And it doesn't explain, like, if you go to this other dimension, what happens to your body. I would just assume you all went in one piece.
Yeah.
But
who knows?
But I've never played the game, so
Same.
So another theory, and this one, the synchronicities in it is so fucking crazy. That she was a tuberculosis test subject. Yeah, this one is
Okay.
crazy.
I haven't heard this one.
Yeah. So some conspiracy theorists think that Eliza was a guinea pig for a new TB medication, which we're going to rule out because it was not found in her toxicology report. So she was, again, a student at the University of British Columbia, which is very big on tuberculosis research.
Okay.
And while she was at the hotel and a few days after her body was discovered, there was a tuberculosis outbreak on Skid Row.
Oh.
Yeah. Some think that she was an agent or a biological weapon to infect the homeless population. Remember you said words were not hard for me today? That she was a biological weapon to infect the homeless population. Now, we're going to take this a little bit further. Remember the Lost Bookstore?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and did you the test for tuberculosis, one of them that you can take is called the Lamb Eliza. Spelled exactly the same, but just reversed from her name.
Wow.
Yeah. So someone found out that if you, and how they found, like, you know what? Some of these things people find are interesting, but you have to be fucking bored, have no life, no job, no
Mhm,
kids, for
mhm,
sure, no
mhm.
kids.
It's the same with
Because
some of the stuff in my case that I'm working on too, because it's like shit that's found in video games.
yeah,
And like you have to camp to see this shit.
yeah, crazy. I mean, you know what? But honestly, I think some of it is really good because this, like, this is, well, the whole tuberculosis thing and the test being Lamb Eliza, spelled exactly the same, just reversed from her name. Um, but this one got me. So if you look up the website for the Lost Bookstore and then look up the registrar, there is a zip code that comes up, and that zip code is V5G4S2. If you put that zip code into Google Maps, it brings up Burnaby, British Columbia, which is where she went to school. The pinpoint for the center of the town is the cemetery that she is buried in. Does that not blow your fucking skull?
That's nuts.
Like, that is actually what made me go, nope, I'm scrapping my notes. I'm doing this. that that blew my mind. And I was like, no, I gotta do this. Like,
You're gonna love my case.
So now we're going to get into the musician. So how he was initially found was he had posted a video of himself stating he was at the Cecil Hotel.
Mhm.
So, and because of, I don't know, I guess his look, death metal, very scary looking dude. Like, he is,
The aesthetic.
like, in the makeup, it's kind of like Rob Zombie in the microwave. Like, if you put Rob Zombie in the microwave, that's kind of what he reminds me of. Like, very, very dark looking. So, but he had posted a video of himself from inside the what now?
Ironically, when you said dark, a dark shadow went across.
Okay. So he had posted this video, but what they didn't realize was he was at the Cecil Hotel a year before she was there. So people started hounding him, and once someone made that claim, he was getting death threats and hate mail and all kinds of things. And his real name is, give me a second, Pablo Vergara. Vergara? Yeah. So there was also a music video that his band Slit Wrist, charming.
Yeah.
But okay, there was the video called Died in Pain. The song was called Died in Pain. And the video depicts a young girl running for her life until she's caught and murdered. And it was posted to YouTube just days after her death. I mean, that's not strong evidence in my opinion, but and then they had another song called China, which includes lyrics about a victim's remains being laid to rest in water, along with the line, I'm thinking China. She was Chinese. So along with his confirmed presence at the Cecil Hotel, again, a year prior, Morbid's band, Slit Wrist, convinced internet sleuths that he had killed Eliza Lamb. And he does go on to say that he no longer makes music. He has attempted suicide multiple times because of this. He has went on with a mask stating he wasn't even in the country at the time of her death. I think he was in Mexico. Yeah. People reported his YouTube, Facebook, and Google accounts until they were all terminated. He has been in a psychiatric hospital. So, I mean, this poor guy has had it rough. For just because he had posted a video stating he was at the Cecil Hotel. No one giving a shit that it was a year before she was there. And that he wasn't in the country when she died. So yeah, that was kind of shitty
And
for him.
happens to have coincidental lyrics in a couple of songs.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I bet if we search through lyrics for other musicians, we could find similar lyrics.
Oh yeah. Yeah, something that, you know, yeah. That's all I got for tonight. But I was so excited for this one, and I don't know why, but I think it was because it was theories and not just, in your face, black and white facts. This was theories of people who have a lot of time on their hands.
I got the same thing in my case. So it's interesting that you came across this and were like, yes, I want to dig into this. That's
And
kind of what made me want to dig into this one, is because there was so many people who had passed away with no answer, like no true answers for any of them.
yeah. And like honestly, with her, I don't know what to believe. I don't think she did it herself.
I don't
And
either.
now I will say, like in the beginning, they said that the hatch was closed, and then later on, someone states that it was not closed. I don't know. If it wasn't closed, then okay, yeah, I could see her having an episode and going in.
Right.
Maybe thinking that was the only place she could hide.
Yeah.
If it was closed, no, she didn't do it herself.
Agreed. Because there's no way she would have been able to do that.
No. Nope. Because she was tiny. Those hatches, I'm sure, are pretty goddamn heavy.
And if I'm not mistaken, there was even the question of how she even got it open in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Again, I don't know anything about water tanks and how they are. I would assume that the hatches are pretty heavy.
yeah, like the hatches for the submarine. You can imagine how heavy those are, right?
I would assume because they're keeping water out.
Yeah. So I mean, just like those, just smaller,
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume they'd have to be pretty heavy. She was a tiny thing.
Yep.
So I can't picture her opening it herself. Again, though, if the hatch was already open and remained open, then I could see it.
Right.
But for me, I'd have to know which way. Because for so long it was the hatch was closed, and then it came out that the hatch was not closed. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems convenient to me that it's suddenly, oh no, it was open.
Yeah, it does.
Just to, shut people up.
Yeah,
Here, stop thinking about it. It was open.
yeah, yeah. But I was so excited. And like I said, I think it was because it was different and not just facts, reports, that kind of thing, that it was
Right.
theories. Because I don't think we've ever done like a theory themed.
We haven't. And another thing that I like about it is the fact that it was the Cecil, which has a whole haunted history,
Right.
and that wasn't covered.
No.
I mean, it was touched on, but you know,
Yeah.
so
I mean, I think with everything that has went on in the Cecil, that would probably be multiple parts too.
oh yes, at least like a four-parter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess this is a good time to ask the listeners then, what do they think of the theories?
Oh, the Netflix series.
No, the theories.
Oh, theories. I'm sorry. It sounded like you said series. Someone got to clean out her ears.
It's all right. I can just pretend I'm talking to my supervisor, Sharon. She doesn't hear half of what I say.
You know, I have come to notice over the last, I don't know, 6 months, because I have my headset, but in order to hear anything other than music clearly, I have to put an earplug in. If I put it in this ear, I can still hear other people. But if I put it in this ear, I can't hear shit. So I don't think I have like full hearing in this ear.
Possible, possible.
So I always have it in this ear, so I don't hear shit from anybody.
I just turned mine up.
Oh, usually mine's up full blast anyway because I work in a noisy place, so I have to have it loud.
Yeah,
And
see, and I
then,
usually have to have mine down lower so that I can hear my radio to make the calls.
yeah,
But when I go
and
out to do my zoomies, it's up.
yeah, I we're not supposed to wear an earplug, but I look at it this way: if people can wear two earbuds, I can wear an earplug.
That's fair.
So
Probably hear less with the earbuds.
yeah, yeah, I do want to know what theory people think is spot on, far fetched. Like the one that gets me though is the whole tuberculosis one. Like that one
Yeah, that's
is
weird.
just so crazy.
It is. It's so coincidental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it's crazy.
with her university having such like a connection to the
That also throws out the possibility for a bigger picture type of thing. And I'm going
yeah,
to throw out my own theory, which is that there is a particular group of people, let's say, who may or may not be in control of certain things throughout our world, um, who, make things like that happen
yeah,
and then make those people disappear.
yeah, that was one of the things mentioned, but I didn't want to get into that because then that might open up a whole can of worms that because she knew too much, the government had to.
Oh, not
So,
necessarily the government.
well, that's what the documentary
Mm,
mentions.
okay. I wasn't referring to government, but I'm
Uh,
not going to say any group names because I'm not going to put that out there.
I think I know. I think I know where you're headed with that.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah, we're not. Yeah. Mm,
Q.
keep going. There's a few different ones, remember?
The ones. Oh, I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not that.
I mean,
No,
not
no.
necessarily them, but a group like that.
Yeah, that's why I said
Because
Q.
because the one that I'm doing has a similar theory.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like the whole thing, of her being a like a biological weapon, to wipe out the homeless population.
Maybe it's not necessarily intended to wipe out the homeless population, but that was merely a test to see how quickly and fast it spread.
And that very well could be. Because it does seem coincidental that it happened while she was there and after she was found.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then with her college being,
And then you add in the fact that the bookstore had the zip code, da 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 da.
yeah, yeah. I don't want to say it's my favorite theory because it sounds awful to have a favorite theory, but that one, like I said, that's the one that made me go, nope, fuck them other notes. Because I already had my other notes like 90% done.
Well, you can always save that for the next one.
Yeah, I'm gonna. But I was like, nope, nope, nope.
Well, in that case, I think that you and hopefully our listeners, watchers will enjoy the next case. And
Yeah,
I'm going to forewarn right now, it's probably going to be a two-parter.
okay, okay.
So, on that note, shall we say goodnight?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's well, I don't know. Compared to the last couple of nights, it's pretty fucking early for me. I just cannot seem to sleep right now. And then I don't want it like I don't want to get up early. Like normally I'm
Mm-hmm.
up at a decent time. And uh what day was it? Hmm, yesterday? I didn't even have time for coffee when I got up. Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah. I took it with me because I had to leave early. I to zip on over to the vape shop because I will say I am down to like a cigarette and a half a day.
You're doing great.
And I'm going longer between cigarettes. So yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Congrats.
Like normally after I eat and we would record, I'd say, okay, I'm gonna run outside and have a cigarette. Not
Yeah.
not even doing that. I've got probably 5 different vapes that I rotate.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, I don't know, right now this one, it's huge, but it's one of my favorites. It's peanut butter chocolate
You told me about that one. Yep.
and it tastes like a peanut butter Twix.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Still banana breeze or strawberry banana breeze. It's my favorite. It
Uh,
gets me through the week.
right now, I have 2 different mint ones. I have a strawberry banana, but that one's almost gone. And I have a blueberry kiwi that is really good.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't investigated the new flavors of these ones lately. The last time I went in, the selection was a little smaller. So hopefully the next time I go in, they'll have more of a selection.
Now the shop I just got it because I like the ones that look like little cups. And they've got new ones in.
Mm,
But I went in yesterday specifically for this one because my other one, I like my tile in my kitchen is like ceramic
mm-hmm.
tile, and I was holding it and I dropped it. And then when I would go to take a puff, like all the juice, and I'm like, nope, that one's got to go. But I need a new one because I have to have that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
The joys of flavors.
hmm I told him, I'm like, I need a coffee one. Like, you need to find me a coffee one. He was like, I can get one, but most people don't like it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've had a coffee one and I had the same thing told to me. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do it anyways. I love coffee. Let me try it. Mm-mm. I do not recommend coffee ones. I do not.
I think I would prefer that over like the fruit ones.
Probably, but I still don't think you'll like the coffee one as much as you think you will.
I mean, I still want to try it. I still want to try. If I don't like it, that's fine. I got this one. I was hesitant about that because I had initially asked him about a coffee one. He was like, I have a chocolate peanut butter. And I'm like, sold. And I was like, oh, what if it tastes like ass? But it doesn't. It's actually like if I just had this in the mint, I'd be fine. But
That's awesome.
I have to have a mint one. So yeah. All right. Hope everyone has a great week.
Toodles.
Bye.